What's up? This is Damns It All, a show about the USACE mission and why it's important. Another series of wildfires have ripped through California, and this time it's in Southern California. Now, wildfire season is typically July to October, so to see the fires this bad this late into the winter is very surprising to everybody. USACE is currently providing free debris removal from the properties of those affected from the wildfires, and you can get the phone number and the link to our website down in the description below to get all the information about our debris removal program and how you can take part. I have a unique history with wildfire. Growing up in Folsom, California, yeah, the one from the song, there was a huge grass fire right behind my house in this field that we used to play in. It didn't do a ton of damage to the houses in the area, but I just remember how scared the whole neighborhood was. Then my brother got a job as a wildland firefighter where he was constantly battling blazes throughout the whole western United States. He was always on a fire, which meant that I was always tracking all these fires. And when you have a loved one in harm's way constantly, you really start paying closer attention. His love for that kind of work led me to get my wildland firefighter certification right out of high school, and his connections in the business led me to get my first job in Chico, California, working on a hand crew. So good news, bad news. The good news, it was one of the lightest fire seasons in recent history. But the bad news for young Luke was that there was no fires, which meant there was no money, which meant I had to move back home and start going to school. My big brother eventually got a different job and I went away to the Army, so honestly, I kind of forgot how bad the wildfires really got in California. So much so that we actually named our daughter California. California burns. The thought of wildfires never even crossed our minds, not even once. We never intended on moving back home to California, but we did when I got a job with USACE Sacramento. And that's when we realized we named our daughter a sentence. In 2018, I was part of the first group of people who responded to a series of wildfires north of San Francisco. Our job at USACE was to clear the debris from the properties of those affected so they could get back to rebuilding as soon as possible. We provided the same service to the folks of Maui in 2023, along with building temporary housing, repairing infrastructure, and distributing water, food, and medical supplies. FEMA has once again requested that USACE provide free debris removal for those affected by the SoCal wildfires, and if that's you or anybody that you know, you can find the website and the phone number in the description to sign up for the program. The thing that stuck with me most from my time supporting the wildfire recovery was the fact that people lose everything in a fire. It's all gone, it's all ash, no documents, no photos, not even socks. That experience of people losing absolutely everything they own has led me to try to be ready for anything. But I have to admit, I've been getting a little lazy. And it wasn't until these recent wildfires that I realized, I gotta make sure I go through my kit. I gotta make sure I'm ready to go at a moment's notice. So I wanted to go through my setup to see where I'm at, and maybe it would give you some ideas for your kit so you can be prepared for the unexpected. We'll be using the Build a Kit checklist from ready.gov, which if you haven't checked it out, it's a very helpful website. They got a ton of tools, covers a wide range of scenarios, and you can find the link to this checklist down in the description.
All right, I know right where my kit is. That's very important. Make sure you know where to find your kit as soon as possible. So I'm gonna walk right into my garage and there's my kit right there. And one of the things that I think is great about my little kit here is that I got it with wheels because it's extremely heavy. Now, the first thing on the checklist is water. And so I have some right here in some bottles. I got full one and 3 empties. I heard somewhere that water went bad, so I just started keeping them empty, and I thought I could just refill them right before we had to get in the van and go. So that's been my plan right now, but I'm gonna have to rethink that. So maybe I'll fill these up and make sure that I just keep them going on a regular basis. But let's go ahead and get this kit and go through it and see what we're working with.
Okay, so I've got the checklist here on my phone so we can go through it from ready.gov. I'm gonna move my beautiful mug to the other side so we can go ahead and start going through my go bag and see what's really going on in this thing. All right, we have some fuel, for our little camp stove. We've got our pots and pan little setup here. So this is just straight from our backpacking setup. So yeah, right there we got our little burner set in there with some matches and utensils. So cook stove and pots and pans and utensils and some fuel for that set in the kit. That's staying. Let's see what's next. Ooh, this is a life straw. If you don't know anything about these are great. You can just plop these down into pretty much any water source and you'll get fresh drinking water. This is a must-have in any emergency kit, I would say. So life straw, that's staying in. All right, next up on the list, it has battery-powered or hand-cranked radio. So I do have that. I've got this little crank radio, battery taped to it, ready to go. This is actually kind of a hunk of junk, so I should really look at upgrading this, so we're gonna put that in the maybe column. Next up on the list is a first aid kit. I can see that pretty clearly right here. That's good to go. All right, what do we got next here? Ooh, flashlight. So I do have a flashlight here, old military style flashlight from when I was in basic training, so that's kind of cool. But I did want to say that I'm always gonna have my backpack with me, so I include this as part of my go bag kit. I bring this thing everywhere. I mean, even my D-ring has a little flint and steel on it, so I can use it to start a fire if need be, but I keep a ton of stuff in here. And so along with this flashlight, I will always have on me, which I highly recommend you do as well, is a headlamp. Because when you need to see in the dark, you want to be able to use your hands, carry stuff, stop yourself from tripping, whatever you got to do. It just doesn't make any sense to me anymore to use a traditional flashlight when headlamps are so good and so cheap these days. And as I'm digging through here a little bit more, I see plenty of lighting options. Always a good idea, including a fresh headlamp still in the package. So that'll do. Looking at what's next. Ooh, yes, vital. Deodorant. You might not be able to shower, but you'll always be able to wipe some deodorant on there and pretend that you did. So, gotta have the deodorant. A whistle. Let's see if I have a whistle. I don't know if I got a whistle. Let me take a look. All right, I don't see a whistle in there, so that's definitely one that I need to add, and that's so you can get attention if need be. I do have a loud whistle like this. Fortunately, I have to make that goofy face when I do it, but it's pretty loud, so I'm gonna give myself partial credit for that. All right, next on the list, a dust mask. I don't think I have any dust masks in here, or my backpack. I think I purged all of the masks out of my kit because I was just so tired of seeing them constantly everywhere for so long, but definitely need to add that back onto the list. Prescription medication, non-prescription medication, any pain relievers, anything like that. I do have a first aid section of the old backpack, and so I have some of our prescription medication, some of our regular stuff, ibuprofen, antihistamines, that kind of stuff, full first aid kit in the backpack first aid section. So I think we got that covered. No infant formula or bottles, don't have to worry about that. Pet food and extra water for your pet. We'll definitely bring the water for the pets and grab some pet food. I don't have that set aside, but we do have it in food containers near the door, so that'd be pretty easy for us to grab. Cash or traveler's checks. Now, I don't have any traveler's checks, but let's just see if I do have any cash in here. I try to always carry cash just in case of emergencies. It makes me look a little old school at times, but yeah, whoop, not gonna show you how much, but I got some cash. Next up on the list is important family documents, like insurance policies, ID cards, bank accounts, that kind of stuff. We have a fireproof box that's in the hallway closet. I know exactly where it is, so I can grab that, and that's gonna be part of our go bag kit. Sleeping bag or warm blanket for each person. Don't have that in the kit. I do have that in the garage in a very specific area for all of our camping gear, so maybe we can get to that in time, but I don't think it's a bad idea to maybe set those next to our go bag so we know exactly where they are in case we need to get them in a hurry. So that's something I can change for sure. Complete change of clothing. So that's not something I have in the go bag. It's not something that I have set aside, but I do have this tip for you, and I heard this from some folks that had been through an emergency. If you need to grab clothes in a hurry, grab all of your dirty clothes, because you know that that's the stuff that you're already going to be wearing. You know it's the stuff that you're going to want when you're in the hotel room or in the shelter or wherever in case there's an emergency. So grab all your dirty clothes. You can wash them later, but at least you know those are the ones that you want because those are the ones that you regularly wear. Next up, fire extinguisher. Got that in the van and we'll be in the van, and if not, hopefully whoever's car we're in has that. So I'm gonna mark that as a yes. Matches in a waterproof container. I do have a bag of lighters, so I think that also counts. All right, last thing we have on the list is books, games, puzzles, activities for kids. I think that'd be a good one to have. Books, something that doesn't require power, board games, deck of cards, have that in the backpack, so I think we're covered on that. But the one thing that I haven't mentioned because I've been kind of dreading going through it is all of our food. I'm sure that this stuff is probably gonna be expired or not usable because it's been that long. So I'm a little embarrassed, but let's go ahead and go through the food. Okay, so this is the food that I have, but not all the food. This is just the types of food. There's a lot more of this in there. It's just too much to put up out on the desk, and it would take forever to go through all of the items. So I'm gonna definitely go through that to see if there's anything that's out of date or anything that I need to replace. But I just wanted to give you a few ideas of the kinds of things you can have in your go bag. So let's start first with some ramen. These are always good, easy, just boiling water, everything's in there. You've got your packets. I think they're good forever. I'm not sure, probably not, but I'll check on that. But these are good ones because they're easy to make. We also have some backpacking food. So these are really nice because they offer a variety of different flavors and all kinds of different pastas and gravies and biscuits and sausage. So some of these are really good. I really like some of these when we're out backpacking. I mean, this is an ice cream sandwich. There's all kinds of stuff in here. We also have lots of beans, lots of canned goods. So just make sure that you go through and you have the kind of stuff that was gonna last for a while. Something else though I think that you're gonna think is fun is that I have several MREs, meals ready to eat. And if you're not familiar with these are US military issued long life meals, and they're super high in calories and not super high in flavor. We've had to get very creative over the years in the military to make these taste delicious, and everyone's got their own favorite. Mine is chicken and rice. But everyone has to figure out how to make them delicious in their own way. And so I've got 4 or 5 of these in here that I've just had forever because they're never gonna go bad. Frankly, I'm a little embarrassed by how much I have to add or replace in my kit, but I'm glad I went through it, and I just hope that it's given you some ideas on what you can include in your kit so you can always be ready. Thanks for joining me on another Damns It All, and I'll have the checklist from ready.gov for building a kit in the description, along with our fire debris removal hotline and the website. If you have any questions about our fire debris mission or our USACE mission on the whole, you can go ahead and drop those in the comments and I'll answer those as soon as I possibly can. And if you're enjoying this time that we get to spend together in these videos, tell a friend, maybe tell like 100 of your friends, maybe share them on your socials. That way, I'll be able to keep making them. For USACE Portland, I'm Luke Burns. Boy!